It's just a cruel existence, like there's no point hoping at all. Baby, baby, I feel crazy up all night, and every day. Give me something, but you just say nothing. What is happening to me? I don't wanna live forever, 'cause I know I'll be living in vain. And I don't wanna feel wherever. I just wanna keep calling your name until you come back home. I just wanna keep calling your name until you come back home. I just wanna keep calling your name until you
Kia ora koutou, please be seated. Tihei Māori ora. Te whare e tū nei, te whenua e te koto nei, tina koroa. He mihi nui ki te mana whenua o tēnei rohi, waitaha ka te mamoe kai tahu. Ki ngā mauna whakahi, ki ngā wai e tiri nei, ki ngā rangatira huhua, tēnei te mihi, tēnei te mihi. Ki ngā mate o te wā, rātou kuia whetu rangatia, haere, haere, moai mai rā. Rātou kia rātou, tātou kia tātou. E te tumuaki, ahurangi David Murdoch, tēnā koe. I ngā rangatira, i ngā manakura, i ngā ahurangi, i ngā kaimahi, i ngā hōmahi, i ngā tangata katoa, tēnā koutou. E mihi ana ki te kaupapa o te rā, i tēnei hui e whakanui ana tātou, i ngā kaimahi o te whariwanaka o Otago. Ahukoa he mihi poto tēnei, he mihi aroha. Nō reira e ho mā tēnā koutou, tēnā tātou katoa. Talofa lava, malo lelei, kia rana, and Nissan Bulavanaka, and warm Pacific greetings. I'm Tony Ballantyne, the Deputy Vice-Chancellor, External Engagement, and it's my great honour to welcome you all to this very special occasion, our 2022 University of Otago Staff Awards. It is really fantastic to see you all at the end of a year that has seemed endless and exhausting. So this is a great opportunity to come together and to celebrate. It is an occasion that celebrates the outstanding contributions and achievements of our University of Otago staff. Of course, our university is a community of learning, a community that produces new knowledge, a community that is dependent upon webs of relationship that knit us together within the university and that also connect us to our host communities, to our research collaborators, to our institutional partners, to our friends and to our alumni across the motu and around the world. So this evening is a wonderful opportunity to celebrate the outstanding work of Otago staff. And in a moment I will introduce our Vice-Chancellor who will offer a more extensive welcome. But before I do so, I just need to cover off the all-important matters of housekeeping. Wharepaku or bathrooms are located on the ground floor, just there by the elevators, to the left of the elevators. We have the main exit and the Clyde Street entrance as exits if we need them. There are also exits to the left and the right of the cafe via the stairs. In the case of an emergency and an evacuation, exit the main doors, and the congregation point is by Allen Hall. And in the event of a fire, smoke curtains will drop down either side of the cafe on the ground floor at level 1. So that is what we'd expect to happen. The real aim this evening is that we're here together as a community to celebrate success and the fantastic work of our colleagues across the university. And it's my pleasure now to introduce our Vice-Chancellor. Professor David Murdoch is a very proud University of Otago alum. He is a recognised world leader in the prevention and treatment of infectious diseases, particularly respiratory infections. He was previously Dean and Head of Campus at the University of Otago, Christchurch. I think his own career is a great example of the Otago tradition of making a difference in the world. As a young doctor, he worked in Kundi Hospital in Nepal, and that has greatly influenced his career subsequently as an infectious disease specialist and researcher. He was head of pathology at Christchurch during the Canterbury earthquakes and has also played a leading role in a Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation funded global study of childhood pneumonia that changed the way in which the disease is diagnosed, treated and prevented. Of course, as I think we're all aware, he played an important role in advising the New Zealand government during the COVID-19 pandemic in several different capacities, including as a member of the Strategic COVID-19 Public Health Advisory Group. So I'm very delighted to hand over to him now. So, David.
Tēnā koe, Tony. E ka mana, e ka reo, e ka mauka whakahi, e ka wawa, e ka pātaka o ka tauka tuku iho, tēnā koutou. It's absolutely great pleasure to be here tonight, and as Tony has said, we're here to celebrate the outstanding contributions and achievements of our staff. And I was reflecting just this past week, I had the pleasure last week to be, as I know some of you here were at the Research Honours Award at the Town Hall, and were there to, while 6 of the awards, including the Rutherford Medal, went to University of Otago staff. And it was an absolutely wonderful event. I mean, not just because it was showcasing our staff, there was a real sense of buzz and of joy. And I think it was the fact that we were getting together to a major celebration and without all of the constraints of some of the public health interventions. And there really was a sense of joy in there, much more than perhaps I expected from the occasion or normally witness at that occasion. I think it does reflect the fact that we do need probably a bit more joyous occasions to be part of, and certainly tonight this is one of those. These awards recognise staff excellence and achievements, and 2022 has yet again seen new and remarkable expressions of our Otago communities: dedication, inspiration and imagination. COVID has demanded an exceptional response from us all. It has called us to be resilient, resourceful, and to think and work flexibly and creatively while still keeping our usual business going. Our teams across teaching, research and professional services continuously pivoted in response to new government guidelines, to shifting health situations, and evolving needs of our students. And really it has been another remarkable year for our community, and I could not be prouder of each and every one of our colleagues during this time. And I guess we're reflecting again, it's the third year and we've probably said similar things with perhaps slightly less intensity for the last 2 years, and as Tony said, we're nearing the end of another exhausting year. So therefore you could say that tonight's awardees are doubly exceptional in this time of great challenge and constant change. They impress and inspire all of us with their dedication, passion and achievements. They demonstrate how to collaborate, share ideas and build bridges. They play an invaluable part in delivering exceptional education, excellent research and first-rate student experiences. And may I also take the opportunity to thank all our staff across the university for your commitment and hard mahi and ingenuity, which have made it possible for us to serve and support our students and our local community to the highest standards. And thank you also for looking after each other during this time. Before passing over to Richard Blakey, who will start with the Research Awards, I just want to acknowledge all of those who've made this event happen. And so just to, we'll be acknowledging the awardees, but the nominators, those who thought about nominating people, the selection committees, a big thank you, and obviously the events team. And we know they've put a lot of hard work into this. So thank you. But now I'd like to pass over to our Deputy Vice-Chancellor of Research and Enterprise, Professor Richard Blakey, who will start with the presentation of the Research Staff Awards. So nō reira, tēnā koutou, tēnā koutou, tēnā koutou katoa.
Nau te raro, nā ki te rora, ko ora ai te iwi. With my basket and your basket, the people will prosper. Ena mana, ena reo, ai rā rakatira mā tēnā koutou, tēnā koutou, tēnā koutou katoa. Ko waiau, no Otapoti ahau, ko kautarani te iwi, hei kai mahi aha te whare wānanga o Otago, ko Richard Blakey tāka wingawa. So greetings everyone, thank you David for the introduction. I'm Richard Blakey, Deputy Vice-Chancellor Research and Enterprise, and in that role I call for nominations for University Research Awards across early, mid and established researcher networks, and we have 4 categories of awards to present tonight. We've got Early Career Awards for Distinction in Research, we've got a special Early to Mid-Career Award, we've got a group award, and then I'll be announcing the Distinguished Research Medal. Now the nature of research is that, and particularly now that we have got more open public health measures, is that when the teaching semester ends, many researchers use this as an opportunity to get and engage with their research networks. So we have a number of our recipients who are not here tonight, but I will go through, given the fact that some of them might be watching the live stream or watching a recording, I will go through and read a citation for all of the recipients, and I will ask you to acknowledge all the recipients after their name and the citation has been read. Those who are present, once your citation has been read, rather than embarrassing you on the stage with that information, while you are being congratulated, if you can please come up stage right, I will then present you with a certificate. Some of you may have already received something in another function, but we'll give you another certificate, and you will get an opportunity to say some words of thanks and acknowledgement. This may be tikanga that the other award presenters may wish to follow. After that, and to aid the flow, if you exit stage left, I've been waiting for the time to say exit stage left, then there's an opportunity for an individual photograph to be taken over by the Staff Awards balloons. At the end of the presentations, we will gather the recipients, those that wish to get a photograph with the Vice-Chancellor or others. There will be the opportunity for photographs. So I think that's the tikanga explained. Now on with the show. The first category is for the Early Career Awards for Distinction in Research. And the first recipient, who is not attending, is Dr. Philip Adamson from the Department of Medicine at the University of Otago in Christchurch. Dr. Adamson is a senior clinical lecturer in the Department of Medicine in Christchurch. Since his appointment in February 2019, he has already established himself as one of the department's most successful researchers. He is presently a 2019 Heart Foundation Senior Fellow, Principal Investigator on 2 HRC projects, Principal Investigator on a Heart Foundation project, and a named investigator on the TEC Healthy Hearts Aotearoa Centre of Research Excellence. 3 of the projects he is leading are cardiovascular trials focused on coronary atherosclerosis, hardening of the heart's arteries. These projects have received millions of dollars in research funding. To date, he has 126 publications, 2,401 citations, and an H-index of 24. He's an associate editor of Heart and is a prolific journal reviewer. So please join us in congratulating Dr. Philip Adamson. Our next recipient, who is present, is Dr. Sebastian Gericke. He is a lecturer in the Department of Accountancy and Finance. His research was initially focused on derivatives and asset pricing, but has since moved to sustainable finance, a more impactful area of research. He has published 11 journal articles that are in the A-rated category in the Australian Business Dean's Council list, and has attained significant funding, supervised several postgraduates, and co-leads a successful research theme. He is actively engaged with media, industry, policymakers, and the community, creating positive impacts on the finance industry's behaviour and helping influence the New Zealand economy transition towards sustainability. He is a prolific media commentator, and just today I endorsed his change of status to become one of the co-directors of a University of Otago research theme, the Climate and Energy Finance Group. So please join me in congratulating Sebastian.
Okay, I was told I get to speak for 2 minutes, so I'll try to keep this short. Yeah, I guess the appreciation or the reflection for me is this university took me from a high school student who didn't really know what I wanted to do, barely got university entrance. I came here chasing my girlfriend, and yeah, of all things, decided to study finance because I read half a book, and yeah, actually Professor Timothy Crack really captured me for that. Came down here, realised how much money my parents were spending, and decided I should probably try. And I guess that's where my high school teachers were correct that, Sebastian's a smart lad, he just doesn't apply himself. So I started applying myself. Got through my bachelor's, master's, PhD, all at Otago, right? So all of the transition for me, or the growth in me, is thanks to this university. Yeah, and my mentor and supervisor, Professor Jin Zhang, he, helped me on my path to become an academic, and then, Professor Ivan D.S. Rainey sort of took over and mentored me into the transition of doing that more impactful work. And I've never loved my job more, and thank you very much for this award, Richard.
So highlighting those intimate and real connections between teaching, research, and what we choose to do in service. Thank you very much. The next award goes to Dr. Anna Gosling, who I have as absent as well, who is a research fellow in the Department of Anatomy. Anna uses transdisciplinary approach across anthropology, genetics, and health sciences to address questions about Pacific health and adaptation. Among other findings, her research has identified that individuals with a genetic predisposition for hyperuricemia will have a faster and more efficient immune response to malaria infection. Dr. Gosling's publication record includes 20 peer-reviewed publications, an H-index of 11, and papers published in high-impact journals such as The Lancet and Nature Communications. She also undertakes a significant amount of outreach, including media interviews and Marae presentations, and is committed to supporting Pacific research and researchers and spreading the awareness of genetic predispositions to metabolic disease with the medical and Pacific communities. So congratulations to Anna. The next recipient of an Early Career Research Award for Distinction in Research is Dr. Gemma Geoghegan, who is a leader in the field of evolutionary virology and who has published over 50 peer-reviewed scientific articles. She's a senior lecturer in the Department of Microbiology and Immunology and has a joint position with ESR. Her work is funded by a Rutherford Discovery Fellowship, a Marsden Fast Start grant, and recently an HRC project grant. Dr. Geoghegan's research focuses on determining the fundamental patterns and processes of viral evolution, ecology, and emergence. She helped establish the genome sequencing of the SARS-CoV-2 virus in New Zealand through funding from MBIE's COVID-19 Innovation Acceleration Fund. Her findings, look, this is really understated. Her findings have won several awards, including the Prime Minister's McDermott Emerging Scientist Award, the Tall Poppy Award in Australia, and the Genetic Society of Australasia Alan Wilson Award. So please welcome Gemma to receive her Early Career Research Award.
Sort of forgot we were supposed to make a speech. So I'd like to thank you, Richard, and the university for this award. It means a lot. It's a very high honour. So I first came to Otago to do my PhD from Scotland, mainly because it was as far away you could get without coming back again. So, and I fell in love with Otago and Dunedin. I spent about 8 years trying to get back again, and I finally made it just in time for a pandemic. So I think that was good timing, and I certainly didn't, engineer a global pandemic to advance my career at all. But it was just very good timing and silver linings, I guess. Thank you.
Look, and whilst recent events have meant that your research has been more in the spotlight, you and all of our recipients will have shone through no matter what the circumstances. Joseph Watts is our next recipient. Joseph investigates how human evolution, culture and cognition interact, with particular focus on the social effects of religion. His studies test theories about the relationship between religious and secular communities and seek to quantify the overlap in Christian and non-religious world explanations, as well as the cumulative transition of the beliefs within groups. Dr. Watts is a member of Otago's Centre for Research on Evolution, Belief and Behaviour, and leads Marsden grant work on the cultural evolution of the theory of mind in the Pacific. His work has been published in world-class journals such as Nature, Nature Human Behaviour, the Proceedings of the Royal Society B, and the Proceedings of the National Academy of Sciences, amongst others. So please join me in welcoming Joseph to receive his award.
I also didn't know I was preparing a speech here, so
It's not compulsory.
I guess I'll start off by saying, like most people, I wouldn't be here without the people around me. So I'm immensely grateful for having a loving and supportive family, excellent set of colleagues, and the collaborative sort of research networks that I have. So thank you very much.
And the final recipient is also not present, Amandaline Sabadell from the Department of Zoology. Dr. Sabadell is a research fellow there and concurrently holds a position as a stable isotope ecologist consultant with NIWA. She is an environmental scientist whose background is in chemistry and expertise with compound-specific stable isotope analysis techniques has provided a unique avenue to study the flow of biochemicals or energy through organisms and ecosystems. Dr. Sabadell's work occupies an important space between chemistry on the one hand and ecology and food webs on the other. She has an excellent publication record comprising 25 publications, 148 citations and an H-index of 7, and has been successful in gaining research funding from a wide variety of agencies. So please join us in congratulating Amandine. The next award we recognise is an individual award called the Roheath Trust Award and Carl Smith Medal, and we had the Carl Smith lecture earlier this week. This goes to Professor Peter Mace from the Department of Biochemistry. Since his appointment to Otago in 2013, Associate Professor Mace, a structural biologist, has developed an energetic independent research track that has brought in more than $5.3 million in external research funding and has yielded 49 peer-reviewed articles. A book chapter, a patent, and several national and international appointments for his service. Several of his papers have been published in high-impact journals including Nature, Nature Biotechnology, Nature Structural and Molecular Biology, Nature Communications, and the Proceedings of the National Academy of Sciences. Peter's work is distinguished by the numerous collaborations he has developed with researchers in Australia, the UK and US, and he is a highly sought-after speaker on the international scene. The quality impact of Peter's work has attracted a steady stream of excellent students into his laboratory, and he has supervised or co-supervised 10 PhD and 13 MSc or honours students to date. Peter was selected for the Roheath Trust Award and Carl Smith Medal due to the scale and consistent excellence of his research achievements to date. So please come and accept this award, Peter.
Spent a fair bit of time this week talking about my work, but as I said on Monday night, I wouldn't be here without the great support of my family over the years and just the team that some of whom Richard's been talking about, like the hard work all those people put in the lab. Doing what we do is really what drives all of our research, so yeah, I can't thank them enough, and thank you very much.
That's a very good segue because research is a team sport, and so we have a team award, the Research Group Award, that we also present. This year, the team, or the Research Group Award, goes to the Centre for Free Radical Research from the University of Otago in Christchurch, and we have Professors Mark Hampton and Marguerite Vissers here to accept the award on behalf of the group. Now, the combined expertise of the principal investigators and research fellows in this group covers chemistry, biochemistry, molecular biology and cell biology. And it's one of the most recognised centres for redox biology in the world. The Centre for Free Radical Research is remarkable for the scale and consistency of its collaborative achievements over several decades and across multiple areas. In the last 5 years, the group has attracted $17.5 million of competitive external funding, using this to produce several fundamental insights into the ability of white blood cells to use oxidants to kill pathogenic bacteria, to give insights into how other cells in our bodies sense and respond to oxidative stress, and to understand how disturbances in these processes contribute to inflammatory disease, cancer, and aging. So you can see it's comprehensive in its reach as well as in its expertise. In that 5-year period, the group has published 118 papers in international peer-reviewed journals, and all established PIs have H indices of greater than 50. Now, for those not in the research, that means they've each published more than 50 articles with more than 50 citations each. It's an exceptional record. The group has consistently demonstrated their ability to transfer fundamental research findings to end users, including making significant recent contributions to the study of human aging as part of the longitudinal Dunedin multidisciplinary health and development study. That study being another recipient of the Group Award and actually being recognised last week, as our Vice-Chancellor said, with the Rutherford Medal. linking to Professor Ballantyne's web of connections that is most vital in our activities at the university. A major strength of the centre has been their ability to work collaboratively over several decades as joint investigators and leaders of large projects and programs, producing numerous co-authored publications. A new generation of research leaders is now emerging within the group, providing a natural succession plan that bodes well for the vitality of the CFRR over many years to come. So please join us in congratulating the group for this award.
So group award, we get a much longer speech, is that right? There's about 30 of us in the group, 2 minutes each?
2.2 minutes.
Okay, 2.2 minutes. Okay, no, thank you very much, Richard, and thank you for organising this event. Thank you to the selection committee who did a fantastic job this year. Congratulations. So it's a real pleasure, privilege to be part of and accepting a team award on behalf of the large group in Christchurch. And it goes back a long time. Richard was sort of hinting at it's actually 50 years since the origin of our group, where the group was one, and that person was Christine Winterbourne. And it was actually last Thursday, 6 days ago, which sort of the 50th anniversary of a Nature paper that she produced from our group. And we've grown since then, and she accumulated a good team of people around her, which she moulded us. She got that really delicate balance of challenging us to become better scientists, but to do it in a supportive environment so that we didn't sort of go away in tears every evening, which was fantastic. She stepped back from the leadership role about 10 years ago. That's where Tony Kettle, Marguerite and myself sort of stepped into it. Our main goal at that point was to not let the wheels fall off. I think that was 10 years ago today. I don't think that's happened. I think this award is evidence of that. But in that time as well, I think our priorities sort of focused more future looking. That we have, Richard mentioned, a number of emerging researchers in the group. Our field has changed quite dramatically, even in the last 5 years in terms of the technology that's available. So we're biochemists and cell biologists. We now have structural biology people, molecular biologists, bioinformatics people within the group. These people are coming through, they're winning major grants and fellowships themselves. We had 4 people became senior research fellows in the last round. So I guess the point is, to me, it's evolution of a long period of time, and it's good to look back. And this award's fantastic, but to us, it's really looking to the future. Can we become better, than what we have been over the past 50 years? So, thank you very much.
Okay, thank you. So just a couple of words to add to what Mark has said. I think as a group, we've been leaders in the field since the very beginning. So when Christine started, free radical research was just becoming a thing, and she was part of the very seminal discoveries. And so we've maintained that momentum as a group, and that, I think, is testimony to not only the individuals in the group and the wonderful way we've worked together, but the chemistry, if you like, between us, which has always meant that the sum has always been greater than the parts. And so there's been something about the way in which we work together that's always been able to lift achievement and without crushing anybody in the process. So it's been a wonderful place to be, and we're really excited about still being leaders of the field and taking our research group forward. So we've got some very exciting people on board, and it's wonderful to see their ideas flow through, and we're optimistic and really excited about what's to come. So thank you for this recognition. We dedicate it to them.
Thank you very much, and I thought you may offer recognition to Professor Winterbourne, Emeritus Professor Winterbourne, so I left that out of my notes, but she was, I think, a trailblazer and a leader to many of us. Finally, and again, I'm very sorry we don't have the recipient of our Distinguished Research Medal present, but I will take some time to congratulate and outline the outstanding achievements of Professor Jacinta Ruru. We have, and just for those that may wish to engage with our recipients, we've had the Carl Smith Medal Lecture. The research group recipients get the opportunity to organise an event around their award, and so those in Christchurch or those visiting may get an opportunity to engage. And the Distinguished Research Medal also gets the opportunity, medal recipient also gets the opportunity to organise a lecture or event around their award. And Professor Ruru will be organising something for early 2023, which I think will be quite a special event that many of us will engage with. For those that don't know Professor Ruru, she is a trailblazer whose distinguished research has had revolutionary legal impact in New Zealand and within other colonised Indigenous settings around the world. She has authored over 100 publications to date, including the lauded book Discovering Indigenous Lands from Oxford University Press, which interrogates the role of the doctrine of discovery in England's colonisation of Indigenous lands, including New Zealand. She is the recipient of many awards and distinctions, including being the first Māori woman recognised as a Fellow of the Royal Society of Te Aoparangi, at the same time as Professor Linda Tuiwai-Smith. She is Aotearoa's first Māori Professor of Law, and she was awarded a University of Otago sesquicentennial distinguished professorship. She is also the recipient of the Prime Minister's Supreme Teaching Excellence Award. Professor Ruru's research is highly original, drawing on Indigenous laws, common law and critical theory to consider how law and policy can be recalibrated to recognise and restore Indigenous people's rights and responsibilities to own, govern and manage land and water. Her writing about recognition of environmental legal personality as it relates to mountains, rivers and other natural features in Treaty of Waitangi claim settlements has led to significant change within the New Zealand context. This includes the Te Urewera Act 2014, which established Te Urewera as an independent legal identity under the management of care of Tūhoi and Toihoitanga, and the Te Awa Tupua Act 2017, which conveyed personhood upon the Whanganui River under the joint care of iwi and the Crown. Other achievements include contributing to the new National Policy Statement for Fresh Water in 2020, new approaches to care of the conservation estate, and mandating tikanga Māori to be taught as part of the LLB degree. Her research has been complemented by pro bono advice to iwi and appointments to law and policy reviews. Professor Ruru's subtle and profound scholarship has disrupted colonial legal power constructs from within, establishing material and spiritual redress for notable breaches of the Treaty of Waitangi, and influencing social, environmental, educational, policy and legal change. She is thoroughly deserving of the Distinguished Research Medal of the University of Otago, so please join me in congratulating her. With that, I thank all of the recipients, present and absent, and hand back to Professor Ballantyne for the next part of the show.
Thank you, Richard. The next part of the show is very fast moving because I'm simply going to invite Professor Nicholson, our DVCA, to come up and present the Teaching Awards.
And I'm not quite as tall as Tony. I'll stand on tiptoe and hopefully you can hear me. So tēnā koutou katoa, Kohala Nicholson, tōku ingoa. And it's my great pleasure to present the awards for teaching. And of course, teaching and learning is a key part of any university. In fact, it's the defining factor of a university because it discriminates us or separates us from, thank you, from a research institute. So I guess for me it's a bit disappointing that we only have one class of teaching awards to give out today. So David, I think for my KPIs that we were discussing this afternoon, my goal should be to be a bit more creative and provide some more teaching awards for next year. But I do have teaching awards to give out to 3 very special people. I'd like to also say thank you to all of those involved in the helping the applications come in, and for those who helped on the Tertiary Teaching Awards committee to decide who should get the awards this year. So I'm going to introduce each person by telling you why they got the award, and then since teaching and learning is all about students, I'm going to give you some comments that have come back from the students to explain exactly who they are. So the first award goes to Gwyneth McIntyre. So this is a University of Otago Award for Excellence in Teaching. And Gwyneth is a senior lecturer in the Classics programme in the School of Arts, the Division of Humanities. And she's been awarded this award for leading students into the ancient world, making the foreign familiar, accessible and compelling through creative, innovative, hands-on teaching and learning. So the student said, Gwyneth, you're an absolute gem. Your obvious fun and enjoyment of this course is infectious, and your eagerness to give out extra explanations to those who ask is truly invaluable all year. It was really fun to participate in an interactive task like this and see how things would have played out in Rome. It was also really beneficial doing a simulation like this because you're able to see information in the readings come to life. In class, Gwyneth modelled comfort with the reality that we cannot know everything and that it's part of the learning process rather than something to be embarrassed about. This lesson has stayed with me, and I'm less hesitant than my peers to ask questions or admit to not knowing the answer, which has greatly increased my ability to access the help I need. And Dr. Gwyneth McIntyre's impact on my life and education has been indescribable. When I first attended Gwyneth's Greek mythology class, it was meant to be a one-off, but her ability to connect with me as a student, her seemingly limitless energy, and the clarity with which she presented her material impressed me and directly resulted in my extending that one paper into 3, then a minor, and finally into a major. Even my Master's in Law carries classics references throughout as a result of her enduring influence. I'm extremely grateful to Gwyneth for the mark she has left in my life. She has been my mentor and teacher, but what she taught me most goes beyond the subject of classics. She taught me that if you pursue excellence and be yourself, that is the surest path to a fulfilling life. I cannot help but believe that, because she has always been a living example of that philosophy. So don't you all want to go and do classics now? So congratulations, Gwyneth.
Thank you. Ugh. That's a hard act to follow. So I feel like I have to thank my students. I was going to anyway, but having said that, I think one of the things that's really struck me here at Otago is just how much my students challenge me to think about my discipline in new and exciting ways. I'm also just honored that students are willing to follow me into weird and wonderful places, to take risks and to try new things. So definitely my thanks is to all of you. And also, I just want to take this opportunity to thank my partner, who's here today. I couldn't do this without you.
So our next awardee is Sun Young Lee. So Sun Young is an associate professor in the National Centre for Peace and Conflict Studies in the Division of Humanities. And he too has been awarded a University of Otago Award for Excellence in Teaching, for facilitating inquiry-based learning and for offering multidimensional methods to link students to field practice and tailor-made curricular development. So some words from Sun Young's students. Sun Young makes times for his students like no other lecturer I have encountered. I felt that he truly had my best interests at heart and was invested in my future and providing me with whatever tools he could do to adequately prepare me. In all my experience at Otago, I have never encountered a teacher as excellent as Dr. Sun Young Lee. He is one of a kind. I would like to express my heartfelt gratitude to you for your kind support, not only to my academic work, but also to the people's resistance against the military and their thirst for a genuine democracy in Myanmar. I am blessed to become one of your students who get a great opportunity to learn new knowledge and skills. And above all, you are a role model who shows a kind heart for other people, especially the most needed ones. My words cannot express how great you are. Although the course ends here, I promise you that I will continue fighting for freedom and democracy, not only for my country, but freedom for all. So, congratulations, Sun Young.
Thank you very much. You know, I have many things that I love about Otago. And one of such things is that Otago values teaching. And Otago makes a lot of effort to support people's teaching activities. So I'd like to thank all of the people, my colleagues at HEDC, GRS, and School of Social Sciences who have offered such a wonderful support over the past years. Without having your support, I wouldn't be able to achieve the level of teaching that I be able to make now. And also, I would like to thank my colleagues at the Te Ao Rongomareiroa, including Te Marekura. Thank you. And above all, I think it will be my father who will be very pleased to see me standing here. My father used to be a primary school teacher, mostly working in a small-size rural primary school in my home country, South Korea. And I vividly remember that he was very much loved by his pupils. Somehow he had developed a sort of magic wand to make, his pupils laugh at every 15 minutes. And I grew up admiring him, hoping to be someone like him. And when he knew that I became a university lecturer, he was so keen to learn about my teaching activities, and I deliberately avoided talking about it. And I was so determined not to share anything about my activities until I would be able to develop the magic wand. And it is unfortunate that I haven't developed such skills. So it means that today is the first day that my father is able to see a glimpse of my activities. I understand that he is actually watching this whole ceremony through live streaming. So if I may, I would like to dedicate this award to my father, my life role model. Thank you.
So our third recipient of the University of Otago Award for Excellence in Teaching is Associate Professor Patrick Vakoeti. And he comes from the the Programme of Sociology, Gender Studies and Criminology in the School of Social Science. You might notice that there's all three of these teachings have come from the Division of Humanities, so well done, Humanities. And Patrick's award is for a relational approach to teaching enabling students to appreciate the joys of learning and its potential for individual and structural transformation. So, some comments. Being a student of Fijian descent and studying in a city far from my home country, Patrick's presence in front of the lecture theatre brought a sense of relatability and comfort. To see an individual of a similar cultural background at his academic position of leadership goes beyond the lecture notes, essay topics or knowledge shared within the four walls of the lecture room. His achievements in the academic sphere are nothing short of an inspiration for me and Pacific students alike. Through Patrick's teaching, I've gained a broader and critical view of the world around me by often questioning everyday issues, searching and finding links between them, and dissecting important concepts and theories of identity and culture, to name a few. Patrick has found a way to humbly motivate and inspire many Pacific students. In Dunedin, it's hard to go into a classroom that's predominantly white without feeling intimidated by those around you. Patrick would walk into the lecture theatre and greet us with his famous Fijian smile. He would use specific examples that we could relate to and encouraged us to talk amongst each other. My Pacific peers and I would learn more in depth when we did this. I can say with certainty that I have never had a lecturer as approachable as Patrick. I associate my success in both papers directly to his commitment to student welfare, development and learning. He makes me feel valued, as if I, one student out of hundreds that walked through the door, mattered to this lecturer. If I hadn't had such an incredibly respectful and inclusive lecturer like Patrick, I do not know that if I would have found joy in my class, and I may have dropped out and changed universities. So congratulations, Patrick, for that award. But today, this afternoon, Patrick was formally awarded one of 9 awards by one of the 9 national teaching awards, the Te Whatu Karangi Awards, with Pacific endorsement. And this was for humility at the heart of fostering student relationships. So Patrick exemplifies how a relentless focus on student-centred learning leads to excellence in teaching. His practice shows that when humility and Pacific values are at the heart of fostering student relationships, learner success and transferable skills naturally flow. In the field of sociology, Patrick draws students to new learning and creates a safe space to explore contentious ideas because he emphasises Māori, Pacific and other Indigenous worldviews as critically valid knowledge systems. Patrick, congratulations.
Tēnā koutou katoa, ni sa mbulu vinaka, ni sa mata vinaka mai, vambimbi o kia mdona wekangu, kia mdona leo ni nogu mata uwale, ki kia munina nogu idhamba nogu tokani. As Helen mentioned, I've also just come back from the National Award ceremony and I actually wrote a speech which I thought would be apt for this occasion as well. English is also my second language, so every time I put pen to paper, I think I shouldn't waste my English words. So I'm going to read my speech to you. I think it's an honor to be recognized with the University Excellence in Teaching Award. To my fellow awardees, Gwyneth and Song Yang, congratulations. It's very humbling to share this moment with you both, particularly Gwyneth, because I remember that we were members of a humanities teaching and learning circle a few years ago, and our interaction, I think, was really beneficial to the way I approached my teaching. I've also read your your profiles, your teaching profiles, and they are inspiring, and I think they augur well for the future of teaching and learning at the University of Otago. I extend my gratitude to the University of Otago. It's my academic home. Here, many members of this family have contributed to my growth and to my success. To Professor Clinton Golding, I don't see him, but I see Ben, of HEDC, thank you for your advice and comments on my portfolio. I think you are a master craftsman. To my colleagues, I've learned a lot from you. Thank you. To my Pacific and my Maori colleagues, thank you for normalizing our ways of being and advocating for teaching and learning approaches that value our culture and our identity. This award demonstrates that our contribution to learning spaces that are predominantly Western is valuable and worthy of recognition. On that note, I would encourage my Pacific family, some of them are aspiring academics, a few Maori colleagues, and also those who are watching and listening online to apply for such teaching awards, pushing beyond the cultural practices that feed our reluctance to apply in the first place. It increases our visibility, values, and approaches. They are equally as valid as any other approach to teaching and learning. There's also a special team that I would like to acknowledge, a group of generous students and staff who deliver professional academic staff a workshop on engaging with and supporting Pacific Island students succeed at university. Sebastian was a participant in one of those workshops, and I'd like to just mention the names of those who I consider the engine room of this team: Alison, Ben, Sia, Maria, Eric, Saki, Pio, Ruthie, Cam, Vika, Matt, Melissa, please don't hide. Thank you all very much. The workshop has enhanced the teaching approaches and engagement staff have with Pacific students. Students past and present have been my inspiration. I acknowledge them today. They teach me about myself and they keep my teaching approaches and content relevant. It is always rewarding to see that you have influenced your learners. I would also like to thank my family, my parents, my siblings and relatives and friends, some of whom are here today. They were pivotal in shaping my relational approach to teaching. Today, I specifically wish to honor my mother, my late mother, who was a primary school teacher in Fiji. As an indigenous Fijian woman, her teaching both at home and in school was influenced by her Fijian values of vewekani, which is relationships, veitalanoa, which is conversing respectfully with people, and veirongorongodi, which is listening respectfully and intently to others. Her values became my values, and I draw on this every time I interact with my learners. My thoughts are also with my 80-year-old father today. It's probably 7 p.m. in Fiji, and I can just picture him returning from his garden and probably taking a rest. To this day, he doesn't know what I do, despite every attempt I make to explain to him. But he taught me one thing. He taught me the value of hard work. And finally, to my wife, Vanisha, who's here with us, and Rafa, thank you. This award would not have been possible without your support, your encouragement, and the many life lessons I continue to receive from you, and the care and love you give. Life is joyful with you both. Thank you for allowing me to do and practice what I love, being a teacher. And I dedicate this award to all teachers at every level for the work that they do in shaping hearts and minds and helping transform the world in the way we all want it to be, safe, just, and equitable. Nō reira, tēnā koutou, tēnā koutou, tēnā koutou katoa, vinakasaka whakalevu. Thank you all very much.
So that completes the teaching awards, but I think you would see we've got some amazing teachers here, and I know that there are more amazing teachers out across the university, so please encourage your colleagues and peers to apply for a teaching award, because we have some amazing people. And I'd also like to just say again thank you to those people who've assisted with the teaching awards, particularly Clinton Golding, who, even though he's been unwell, has been able to help people. So thank you all.
Kia ora anō. I have the very simple task of asking the Vice-Chancellor to come back now, and he will present the awards to our professional staff.
Thank you, Tony, and it's my absolute pleasure to announce and award the Professional Staff Awards. And tonight we have 5 awards, 2 for health, safety and 2 health, safety and wellbeing awards, 1 award for sustainable practice, and 2 awards for exceptional performance. And in fact, Helen, you stole my thunder, because I was going to comment on the relatively small number of awards, and I think there's some work to take away, because I think we need to do some more work to increase those numbers. But firstly, thank you to the selection panel. Thank you for those who've nominated people for these awards. It is wonderful that you've done that. And we'll follow the similar protocol to before. I will announce the awardees, tell you a bit about them, tell you there's some stories about them, and then we'll ask the awardee to come up and receive their certificate. The first is Suzanne Mackay, who I don't think is here tonight, but I think someone is going to uplift the certificate for her. This is the Health, Safety and Wellbeing Award, Individual Award. Suzanne is a senior administrator in student experience, has been involved with health and safety at the university since 2001. She has been variously the Department Health and Safety Officer in the Clock Tower, then Department Health and Safety Administrator. More recently, Suzanne has been a worker representative, providing an extra avenue for people to raise concerns about health and safety matters. She likes to help people and has a simple approach to health and safety that people understand and can take away and apply themselves. Among other things, she has played a major role in the design and implementation of a roller system for the transportation of heavy exam boxes, a system then rolled out around the university. She's carried out many health and safety inductions and sat on health and safety committees, and continues to help with the development of the ISO 45001 framework and health and safety management system. So I understand Michael Hodge is here tonight to uplift. So join me in congratulating Suzanne. And Michael, the speech is optional, I think.
Thank you. That's all right. She did part with me a few words, if I could say, on her behalf, which luckily I've printed out, so the unfolding of paper. So I'll read those for you now. I am sorry I'm unable to be here in person to receive this award. However, I am delighted to receive this as a recognition of my work in the health and safety and wellbeing arena. In the last couple of decades, I found it both challenging and a pleasure working with my colleagues to ensure that they and their working environment are as safe as they can be, and it has certainly been rewarding for me. The environments I have worked in have been many and varied over that time and contain many challenges and potential hazards. In Scott's Shandhouse, for example, which changed from being a professorial home to a university department, as part of the changes, a communication way was built from Scott House to the Shandhouse on the first floor level. And when I started work in that building, you had to bend over to walk through this. The risk of damage from hitting your head had been minimised by a foam mattress that was glued to the ceiling in the corridor. And in lieu of a warning notice, there was a picture of a duck at each end. Needless to say, a warning about this hazard made its way into many health and safety inductions. I am excited about the funding associated with this award and hope to direct it to an initiative which will benefit all staff. And I thank you once again.
The The next award is the Health, Safety and Wellbeing Award, Team Award, and this has been awarded to the School of Surveying, Te Kura Kaururi Student Wellbeing and Support Team. And that team, I'm told, comprises Christina Hulb, Emily Tidy, who unfortunately can't be here tonight, Fraser Jobson and Kelly Gregg. The priority for the School of Surveying's Te Kura Kaururi Student Wellbeing and Support Team is the mental health and well-being of survey students. Since 2018, the team has run a seminar series that welcomes 200 level students and emphasises community and curiosity. The series shows students who the School of Surveying is, how it strives to help them grow and succeed during their time with it. The team knows that talking about challenges and issues can help others to realise they are not alone and to seek help or make changes to best support themselves. By focusing on 200 level students at the start of the academic year, the seminar series has helped to break down barriers for students who might otherwise not come forward for help. We're not aware of any other academic unit offering a similar consolidated course on wellbeing and study support for its undergraduate students, and note that it arose as a response to consultation with surveying students. So please join me in congratulating the members of the group. Anyway, congratulations.
First of all, thank you very much to the university for the recognition for the work that the School of Surveying has done. And really, the support of our students is one of those things that just has to be done. As a professional school, it's been identified for a long time that we do actually need to support our students, but our historical focus has always been on our final year students as they transition from a student into their professional career and the stresses and uncertainty that comes along with that. But in 2017, we lost a student, Eddie Simpson, to suicide. And that is really something that just told us, hey, we actually need to do something here. And during the recovery and healing from that event, and in consultation with the university's own support systems and Eddie's classmates, we formulated that our support really had to actually go earlier into the school. And this is why we actually looked at supporting and helping not only all of our students, but in particular the second year cohort of students that comes into it. While the recognition of our program is great, we still haven't got everything right. And just like all of our students are unique, they always come to us with unique issues that we need to help them with and support. And so we're going to continue to try and improve, and particularly we've already identified that our COVID cohorts that are going to be moving in through the next few years are going to be presenting their own problems that we have to identify with, but we're going to try the best that we can to support and help them through that's needed. Again, thank you very much for the recognition of the School of Surveying.
Fantastic work, thank you. The next award is the Award for Sustainable Practice by Staff, and this award goes to Manon Nappen. Gather Manon isn't here today, but Michelle Coleman, maybe great picking up the certificate. Manon is Scientific Officer for the Health Sciences Divisional Office. Research started the office's Green Your Scene team. That's quite hard to say. Green Your Scene team 3 years ago, and has led it throughout. She's been a driving force, continually sharing information and encouraging everyone to get involved both at work and at home. Her steadfast and continual input demonstrates her integrity and commitment to sustainable living. In 2022, she has organised a team to promote a different United Nations sustainability goal each month, led by a different team member. She's also not afraid of the mahi, doing more than a fair share to lift the sustainability of the environment in the office, from organising more energy efficient light bulbs, setting up recycling spaces for household items, and consistently finding ways to educate others through innovation and communication. So please join with me in congratulating Manon. Say a few words.
Very few. Look, Manon was really hoping to be here up until this morning, and she's just too unwell to come. And I mean, all I can say is we're very, very proud of her efforts and her leadership, and we hope she'll be back soon to lead us. And I hope you're watching from your bed at home, Manon. Thank you.
It gives me great pleasure to, for the final two awards. These are the awards for exceptional performance by professional staff, and as I've indicated, there are two awards this year. The first award goes to Brent Pooley, Physical Geology Laboratories Manager. Brent's role in geology and the wider earth science discipline is often behind the scenes, but are critical to the department and further afield. Brent was described in his nomination as an unassuming, so capable, critical member of our department for 37 years so far. Before expanding his engineering capabilities into new devices, purpose-built or modified for experiments in the department, Brent's mechanical skills were employed in keeping rock processing equipment, their saws, grinders, polishers, etc., in running condition decades beyond their expected lives. Not only were the devices Brent developed and constructed fit for exactly the purposes requested, they almost always incorporated materials repurposed from more basic uses or from previously decommissioned devices. Isn't that wonderful? So please join me in congratulating Brent.
Well, yes, 37 years. It's been so far, yeah. There should be a few years, not too many left. I've had a lot of fun, actually, and I've been involved with explosives, Antarctica, trips to the Auckland Islands. I've worked with archaeologists, marine scientists, a lot of people through the university, and for 37 years, I've enjoyed what is really a fantastic community that is Otago University. And the geology department has been really supportive, and they've encouraged me to just have a crack at anything. And they encouraged me to do a degree as well. So it only took 12 years, but I got there. So I'm grateful. I'm grateful for the people who nominated me and for the people that have worked with me over the years and supplied resources sometimes and knowledge as well. So thank you very much. Yeah.
Last but certainly not least, the other recipient of the Award for Exceptional Performance by Professional Staff is our Director of Communications, Megan McPherson. And although this citation was written by someone else, I can personally affirm all of the statements in it. Director of Communications, Megan has led the university through a wide range of incidents and challenges for more than a decade, providing an exemplary service to the institution over that time and playing a core role in enhancing and protecting its reputation. She has for years made herself available at all hours, ready to offer advice and solutions to manage all types of issues. She starts her day before 7 a.m, and I can confirm that, and often works long into the night, really taking time off to compensate. She consistently goes above and beyond her job description. Megan has been at the forefront of all major events at the university in recent years, from the Christchurch earthquakes, multiple student deaths, the terror attacks, the recent graduation threat, and much, much more. On any given day, she is likely to be dealing with at least one reputation-risking event where the university was thrust into the public limelight, and at the same time leading teams on the wide range of internal communication matters and public outreach. She is very highly regarded by her colleagues and those outside the university who she worked with, and held herself to a high level of integrity, leading her team by learning and demonstrating from the top. Her calm, methodical, reliable approach in an emergency was relied upon in times of crisis, and the communications team response to the pandemic under her leadership has been lauded. Please join me in congratulating Megan.
Pomare, everybody. Thank you, David. It was a really pleasant surprise to get this. Sometimes there's unpleasant surprises around here, and this is a very pleasant one. And I'm just incredibly grateful to the university. I've worked here 14 3/4 years, which is a long time. I said I'd stay 5, and here I am all those years later. I'm only as good as the people I work with, and I'm incredibly privileged to work with a communications team who are like no other. Highly skilled, very professional, dedicated, and very kind and caring, collaborative people. So thank you. How the nomination came from my team, from Leanne Topham-Kindly and Fiona Clarkson, was very humbling, and I'd work with you guys any day. Thank you. It was mentioned the crazy hours that comms can be, and there's someone here I really want to thank. You get calls all sorts of times, and my daughter Olivia, who is 20 now in the audience, when she was 8, her 8-year-old birthday, a thing happened over at the dental school, and I had to leave Olivia's birthday. So thank you, Olivia. As reparation, please help yourself to the canopies and free drinks. and just a huge appreciation to you, David, and the university. This is a fantastic community to be part of, and I'm truly grateful. Thank you.
Congratulations again to all the awardees tonight, and everyone's helped to set up this event. So I think my last task is to hand back to our MC, Professor Tony Ballantyne, who I should say arrived back in the country only a few hours ago. So I think he's doing very well. So thank you, Tony. I think you'll close the meeting, the event. Thank you.
So we'll close with karakia, but since David mentioned the fact that I've only just returned to the country, I flew back from Perth last night and got in very early this morning and only had 2 hours sleep. And I think it's fair to say that this afternoon, a part of me thought it would be really nice to stay at home and go to sleep on the sofa this evening. But I'm so glad that I've come out and emceed this event. It's been just fantastic. It has been fantastic to hear about the work of all our prize winners. It's been fantastic to hear from all our prize winners. And it's also been fantastic to hear the voices of people reflecting on the significance and the impact of the work of our prize givers. Particularly, I think those student voices were just amazing. So it's an incredibly uplifting event. It recognises an outstanding group of kaimahi within our university, but also just to make a very obvious point, that we have many other fantastic colleagues across the institution who do amazing things every day that support their academic units, that support the educational journeys of our students, and that enable the university to make a real difference in the world. So we're incredibly thankful to the collective effort that underpins our work as an institution. I also would just like to do 2 final things, and they're both going to be a round of applause. Could we have a round of applause for all our winners this evening, please? And it has also been mentioned, all the people involved in these processes, so nominating, judging awards, being on panels, but also the events team, Dave's the photographer, everyone that comes together to enable an event like this. I think it's really important that we end this evening by showing them our appreciation. And then we'll have a karakia to close. So kia tau kia tātou katoa, te atawhai o tō tātou ariki a ihu kuraiti me te aroha o te atua, me te whiwhina tahitanga ki te wairua tapu, ake, 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 amene. Thank you everyone.